Welcome to the Inside Track, your exclusive all-access pass to hear from global leaders who are putting talent transformation at the heart of their business. Fresh perspectives, bold ideas, global impact. All now on the Inside Track.
Hello and welcome to the Inside Track. I'm your host, Abakar Saidov, CEO of Beamery. We're excited to bring you conversations with HR executives from around the globe. Stay connected with us by following us on LinkedIn and our channel on YouTube. Recently, I had the great pleasure of sitting down with Amy Reichanadter, Chief People Officer at Databricks. Amy is an industry veteran with more than 20 years of experience designing and implementing innovative, results-oriented people programs in high-growth environments. At Databricks, she leads all of the company's global HR programs, including talent acquisition, total rewards, performance enablement, learning and development, and diversity and inclusion. Welcome to the Inside Track, Amy. So amazing to have you here.
Thank you. I'm thrilled to be here today.
Not as thrilled as we are. To get us started, Amy, I thought we'd start with some rapid fire questions. So let me know when you're ready and we're going to kick off.
I'm ready. Fire away.
All right. What's the last app you downloaded on your phone?
Signal.
Do you prefer to be in the office or work from home?
I want both. So I would love to not have to commute to the city, and I can't wait to see people again in the office.
If you could spend one day with anyone, past or present, who would it be?
My husband.
What one piece of career advice would you give to your 20-year-old self?
The piece of advice I would give myself is just to fill in the white space around you. So look around you in any organization and figure out what you can do to make your team and the company better.
Amy, so let's dig in a little bit. Well, first of all, congratulations on your recent recognition as a 2021 CNBC Disruptor 50. That's quite an accomplishment.
Thank you.
How was that celebrated in the company?
We have been incredibly fortunate to be recognized in this way. And so we have celebrated at our all hands and gotten lots of recognition and press for it. So we feel really lucky about that.
I'm sure that comes with lots of pressure to grow, scale, and keep performing at that level.
For sure.
Super. So I thought we'd dig into some more detailed questions, Amy. And the first is, you're undergoing significant growth. And in fact, I saw you posted some triple-digit growth during COVID, which is an incredible accomplishment. What do you think is the key to this growth?
I think we are incredibly fortunate in that we are at the intersection of this amazing market opportunity. We have an incredible product, and we are creating an incredible company with that in terms of how we want to build the culture and the type of talent that we want to attract to Databricks. And I think at the intersection of all of those things has really contributed to our ability to be incredibly successful during what was, I think for many people, the hardest year of their life.
And how do you think the people strategy really supports that?
We have been incredibly intentional about how we wanted to develop the people strategy. And then, of course, that had to be really thought through during the last year with the pandemic. But our strategy, the way we think about it, is that we want to build an environment where people feel empowered to do the best work of their career. And everything we do, we have to build for scale because we're growing at a pace that most companies will never experience. And so, the company really is a new company every 6 months. And we have to be very thoughtful about the programs that we build, the systems that we implement, and everything that we do. We have to look quite far into the future to make sure that it's going to serve us for the next couple of years, even though the environment and the people that we're bringing in change the company every day.
Absolutely, and that's definitely something that I feel firsthand with Beamery as well. So for sure, totally get where you're coming from. One question that I had actually, Amy, is around company values. Obviously, as businesses grow and scale, values evolve over time. So I'm curious to hear how they have evolved recently to support the explosive growth that you guys have had, and especially in this new world of work that we're experiencing.
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, we've always had 4 company values, and they are lived incredibly authentically at Databricks. I've often said to candidates that I interviewed that of any of the companies that I've worked for, I would say that the values are the most ingrained in life at Databricks. And it's things like teamwork makes the dream work, and let the data decide and own it. And we think about being customer obsessed. And the one value that we've actually added over the last year that has changed is what we call raise the bar. And it's really the idea that every hire that we make is an opportunity to make the company better. And with the amount that we're scaling and the amount that we're hiring, we really feel it's important to be intentional about making sure that every person in the company knows how important it is that we really think about how additive each person can be to our team.
That makes a lot of sense. I love let the data decide as well. Obviously, eponymous to the name of the company, so makes total sense that would be a big one.
Yeah, for
how did you guys implement Raise the Bar? Can you tell me a little bit more about kind of how a new value was added?
Yeah, it actually started as a strategic imperative that we had for this year, and so we set out very programmatically this year with an opportunity to train the entire company around how we think about our hiring principles and also what we think are best practices for hiring excellence at scale. And so we've been in the middle of this transformative effort. And then we've also been looking at digital transformation. So we're obviously in the middle of our Beamery implementation and have implemented other tech tools on the TA side to make sure that we can hire at the pace that we want to, but that we keep a really inclusive candidate experience and also make sure that all of the people that we're bringing into the organization understand what's important at Databricks. We have an incredibly high talent bar. And when you're hiring this quickly, most people come in only with the knowledge of what they knew from their past companies about what was important, how you interview, how you select new employees to come into the company. So we've had to really work intentionally to get everyone aligned to our beliefs and practices around the importance of hiring, our selection criteria, and then how to do that at a really incredible pace so that we make the best possible selection each and every time.
I love that. And as I'm sure a people leader like yourself, you probably have some incredible stories of how that's worked. I guess I'm curious, in the last maybe 3 or 6 months, do you have a great human story of where this works super well?
Oh, it's a great question. I think that we make our decisions actually in quite a consensus-driven way. And we do that in order to make sure that we are looking at all angles of the candidate experience. And I can give you an example from my own team, which is that I was looking to bring in a new head of talent acquisition, which is an incredibly critical position for us. And really, there was no compromising in the role in terms of really understanding what was important and making sure that the candidate that we ultimately selected would be able to work with all of our leaders across the company and our team. And so we believe in taking our time. While it's sort of counterintuitive to growing this quickly, but we believe that it's really important that you make the best possible choice and hire the best possible candidate for the role, even if that means going slower, which seems counterintuitive to the fact that we're growing at this kind of triple-digit growth, but we think it's so important to make the right selection. And so ultimately, it took me about 7 months to complete the search, but we hired somebody that I think is an incredible addition to the team. And, true to our philosophy about every hire makes the company better, that I believe that we've hired somebody that will make our team even better as we grow.
Well, I understand that you guys have been doing a lot of stuff on the diversity and inclusion and equity strategy, and that you've been personally instrumental in putting together a framework and process to support the company. Can you walk me through the journey of where you were and where you are today?
Yeah, absolutely. It's been an incredible journey. And when I first joined Databricks 2 years ago, there was a lot of passion around diversity, equity, and inclusion without a lot of structure behind it. And so the first thing that we did was put together a kind of 18-month initial strategy, which really was founded on 3 tenets. One was making sure that we had an inclusive hiring experience. The second piece was making sure that we had an inclusive culture. And the third one was what we called executive-led employee-driven progress, which was that our executives owned our targets, but the employees owned a lot of the programmatic elements of our strategy. But we actually believed in putting the inclusion piece first. And so a lot of our efforts really were focused on making sure that we had a really employee-centric, inclusive culture within the company, figuring that the hiring piece would be more successful if people could come in and make sure that they really felt like they belonged. And so we measured this from the very start. So when I first started, we did our first engagement survey and did gathered a lot of data around where people were in terms of their belief around diversity and belonging within the company. And then a year later, we measured that again and found that we had actually closed all of the gaps between our female population or underrepresented groups and other employees in the company, seeing a 20-point change year over year. And a lot of what we did was we built our D&I program at the heart of who we are. So everything that we do, it's ingrained in every part of our program. So whether it's our all hands, our user conference, our company kickoff, that we really believe every event that we do should have a D&I element to it. And we've also built incredibly dynamic ERGs. So we have actually half of our employee population now belongs to one of our 6 ERGs. And it just really become who we are. And so we've never thought about building it as a program that's on the side. For us, it's really part of everything that we do at Databricks. And so it's really become quite a critical part of our programming. And after that initial 18 months, we're now kind of on the second version of our strategy, which is really about bringing our strategy to market and helping people understand how important it is to us as a company. And so that's everything from revising our web pages to implementing Beamery to help us with marketing, and really excited about what this next phase is about bringing our story to the marketplace.
I absolutely love that. And it's super refreshing actually to have a leader start talking about inclusion first, because so many organizations pay lip service to the diversity target. And as you'll know far better than most, having a diverse workforce that is not included does not achieve the point at all.
It's actually counterproductive, because you can put so much effort into the hiring piece, and if people don't feel like they have a great experience or don't feel like they belong, they're not going to stay. And, when it comes back to us at our employee experience, we think about empowering people to do the best work of their careers. And in order to do that, they have to feel like they really love the people that they work with every day.
And so in terms of you mentioning phase 2, what do you think will be the biggest challenge?
We're now focused a lot on the recruiting element of it, and the, basically the amount of talent that we want to go after and hire at this pace and create a really inclusive experience and continue to evolve the diversity of our workforce is the same target and challenge that every company is facing. And so I think it's really a combination of making sure that we continue to hire the best and most additive people to the team, and we continue to drive that inclusive experience for our candidates and employees. So, I think it's just the fact that everybody wants the same thing. We all want the best and brightest talent, and we want a diverse population within our companies. And so finding ways to be differentiated and make sure that you are really creating that inclusive experience is probably the thing that we focus on the most. And that, my belief has always been that the inclusion should be first. And so while everybody talks about diversity and inclusion, for us, it's inclusion first, and then the rest will follow. So hopefully that strategy will serve us well over time.
I'm sure it will. And what I love is the deliberate approach, Amy, that you're taking to change, right? So you're an organization that's going through wild growth, wild change on all fronts. What advice would you give to those listening in terms of taking the initial first steps to enacting change, defining goalposts, and really starting to transform their talent functions?
Yeah, it's a great question. I have really 2 pieces of advice I would give. I talked earlier about how let the data decide is a core value at Databricks, but I would give that advice to any leader that's looking to undergo a transformation effort. And 2 examples I can give is that throughout the pandemic, we have used regular surveys to really understand where we are in terms of the employee experience working remotely, and have used that data to help guide our decision makings, make programmatic changes during this time to help ensure that we're creating the experience that we want when everyone went home. The second piece of advice I would give is really to be incredibly intentional about the programs that you're building and make sure that they are culturally appropriate for each environment that you're in. I often tell my team at Databricks to forget everything they've ever known, and that our job is to work in context in the environment that we're in and make sure that the things that we're building or leading the transformation efforts, that the change management efforts really resonate within each organization. And so you have to be super deep in terms of really understanding what your organization needs so that you can make the best possible decisions about how to help people undergo change. And so I think it's really the combination of those 2 things about being data-driven in your approach to driving change, and then also just making sure that whatever you're doing is really culturally and organizationally relevant to your particular company.
I love that. It's such a great answer. Well, Amy, thank you so much for sharing your insights with us and being here on Inside Track. It's been such a privilege to work with Databricks and follow you on this journey, and obviously hear the insights around transformation and your DE&I strategy. We look forward to watching the story continue from the sidelines. So thank you so much for that.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been amazing to be here today.
That's another great view into the Inside Track. Be sure to follow us for more conversations. I'm Abakar Saidov. We'll see you next time.